The session. Sir, Debashish sir will continue the session. Sir, I think you are available. Sir. Sir, over to you, sir. Please start the session.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
We have started with the morning. Now it is afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
So earlier we have stopped here, right? So once again, welcome to the second session. Next few hours, I will be discussing with this whatever we have discussed earlier regarding this federated learning. That we are collaborating everyone and we are capturing the everyone's learning. W1 is a weightage of learning of this device. And if you see this W1, W2, WK, they are different. So we can also give W1 equals to W2 equals to W3. That means same weightage or different weightage based on the how much weightage you want to provide. So there is another interesting area for heterogeneous mobile network devices. Because see, this one is laptop, this one is mobile phone, and this one is a router. Everyone is contributing to the whole system, right? In heterogeneity, there is a problem that we have to combine all the features and we have to combine all the facilities rather. And ultimately, the product, the outcome is this federated learning, which is coming up from this system. Now, I think everyone has gone through the yesterday's class of deep learning, right? So maybe the same deep learning model can be applied. Federated learning is not itself a different kind of learning, but we can apply the deep learning here during the process of aggregation of the data, which is coming from various levels, right? Or you can use sometimes any kinds of learning systems. Okay. So already I've said that to you. This is actually your WhatsApp screen, right? This is actually your WhatsApp screen. This FTF, this training process where you can see is federated. F stands for federated, right? This federated training process, we can see that your baseline model. Already I've explained this, but still I'm going to recap for 1 minute. So your Google keyboard or Gboard thing, what is connected to the cache. Cache, there is some storage is there called localized storage, through which this we are actually inferring the models, right? So this is the Android mobile phone, and this is localized edge server, not that big means cloud server. So do not think this is your cloud server. This is the server. Maybe this is your mobile phone. This is your laptop. Or sometimes we can go for bigger training level. Then we have to go for this high level of cloud computing. So task is basically initiated initially from there. So in the inference model, and after all the processing, these things are actually happening like this. Okay? And this is a very, very interesting area of research, and this is actually happening in your Gboard, in your WhatsApp messaging messenger, same way. Every day we process, and if you see the client, that's client server. So server, there is a learning model, and all the clients, there's a training and evaluation of data, of decentralized data, right? training here, training this mobile 2, mobile 3, every mobile there is a training. There is a loop here, loop there, the cloud, and loop here in this mobile phones. So engineers is actually monitoring these loops, one in the server level and cloud level. Actually, engineering is basically dictating the algorithm, which algorithm should go and which application. Sometimes we have certain applications through which we need the engineers will decide according to the learning models will be deployed to the systems. Sometimes we want to know what is the temperature of Calcutta. Then what is the localized temperature of the mobile devices that can be captured, and there are thousands of mobile phones. Without having a single thermometer, using your federated learning, using this crowd sensing, we are sensing the crowd, say temperature 70° Fahrenheit, 70.5. So we can take an average temperature and we can calculate. So it is the engineer to decide which learning model, initial learning model, should be deployed, right? So this is a very interesting area that these engineers actually deploy. What is the initial model, right? According to the system will work. So you can see here, say consider this is Calcutta or maybe Delhi. So there are some temperature from devices in Fahrenheit here, 68, 70.5. Okay. These are the keyboard temperature, local raw data on device database. See, maximum temperature from the local system means keyboard temperature, means keyboard of rather Gboard temperature, which is coming from the local sensor of your mobile phone, right? And this is the federated competition actually happening here. Okay. So if you see, this is well known, everyone know this. Almost every day we use it, right? So there's some autofill options, autofill services. And we're getting the suggestions, right? Rather recommendation. It sounds good to me. See, it's written that hey, I am headed out now, right? Sounds good to me. That means it is not your writing, but it is your NLP, natural language processing. Your laptop or your mobile phone is recommending. This Android is recommending through this Gboard facility that what kind of things will be there in the message, right? So this is the workflow of federated Gbox, rather full box systems. So if you see the edge learning or edge analytics is actually happening in this fashion that we have to capture the data, and after capturing the whole data, which will be processed at the end, and the processing is performed in the analytics, in the process analytics, and you can see the process data is processing is happening here. But in case of edge intelligence, this is the old model, edge analytics. Now we are in the age of edge analytics, since 2016. So there is an internal feedback. Cloud is notified later, but here cloud is notified and then we have to perform the action. But here in Gboard or federated learning system, we can perform the action before going to the cloud also. So this is the edge intelligence. So we don't have to go for the intelligence for the cloud only. So intelligence we can capture from the local level, that means mobile level or laptop level, right? Or your any device. Maybe your refrigerator can give you some commands, right? It's possible. Right? So this is the difference between edge analytics. Edge analytics is 10 years before. Edge intelligence is just happening now around us. Okay. So if you see the whole ecosystem of edge analytics and rather edge intelligence, we are providing smart cities, smart governance, right? Okay, smart governance. So we can see there are a huge amount of governance, means state government, say West Bengal government, Delhi government, okay, Gujarat government, UP government. Everyone has their own administration, and they're getting the data from all over corner of the system using this edge intelligence. And accordingly, they are doing this. Especially in the pandemic time, I talk about the pandemic situation. So these drones are playing a major role, and these drones are capturing all the data using this elastic system. Basically, if you talk about the governance, we are taking the energy, smart homes, all the smart appliances, your keyboards, TV, refrigerator, they're all talking to each other in the smart home. Smart transport, even cars, vehicles can talk to one vehicle. We call it IoV, Internet of Vehicles, right? So this vehicle to vehicle communication and also healthcare, these are all the applications that are actually happening. Healthcare, right? Healthcare is very common and popular. And especially in the pandemic second wave, you heard about the oxygen problem, right? Everyone know the problem, right? So if we can provide these edge intelligent devices, we can measure what is the oxygen level of the specific hospital. Government can take decision, and elastically it can transfer the resources to the health workers or hospital systems and to the patients in a distributed fashion around the cities, right? Now question is not only the hospitals, we have to provide the intelligence to the patients also. Using Arogya Setu app or various apps, I think government is also monitoring various COVID patients around us, and lots of works, at least thousands or maybe few lakhs of research paper published from this area, how this COVID management can be done in efficient fashion using this intelligent network, right? So anyone is interested, they can work in this domain. We are ready to collaborate also, because it's a new area, and in the governance, I think I can remember Devashish Sen of HITCO. He is working in a lot in Newtown, Kolkata, and they are working on various projects of these health systems and health workers, so that we can get the elastic computing, right? Elasticity means, you just think energy, smart home, transport, healthcare. So everything is like a hand, right? Just try to imagine, we have 4 hands, right? Here there is showing 4 hands. Wherever the resource is high required, this hand will pull the resource. This is like a string. And based on the pull, whether it's inward pull or upward pull, we'll actually capture the data, right? We'll actually capture the data. And according to your capture, we can actually process the data. So what I mean to say, if there is a huge requirement at the hospital side because of pandemic, then obviously more resource will be allocated by the this cloud or to the edge, more edges. So edges are empowered to ask for more resources. Okay. This is a very interesting picture, but it's a simple picture, but it shows the philosophy, how this edge is actually dictating the whole system, whole governance, how to make a systematic governance, right? Systematic governance means how to make the governance in a proper fashion so that we can have a proper balance and ecosystem. That means if we compare this picture with this picture, so based on the requirement, so because of the pandemic, this health requirement is high here. So we have to provide more resources to the health workers and hospitals. So that is the only possible due to the intelligence. Very simple. The requirement of oxygen level, requirement of medicine, requirement of bed. Based on the Arogya Setu app, we can understand what is the density of the COVID patient in certain area, and accordingly the solutions will be provided either by drone or the nowadays vaccination is also important. Okay, so I've seen in IEM also a lot of vaccination drive by your director, and very good. It's a timely done by for your students and also all the teachers. So healthcare is one of the major area where this age is playing a major role, right? So there are lots of things we can discuss. So this age is playing a major role, and where we have to autosense, the technology called autosensing. Autosensing is very, very important, and one of the most popular sensing technology, where we are sensing automatically various kinds of devices, and we are doing intelligence, and according to the intelligence of the devices, we are actually performing certain operations. So auto sensing is important, right? Whether it is an accident, whether it is hospital, or whether it is road accident, auto sensing is playing a major role, right? If you see the applications in edge, it is in everywhere. In traffic, based on the density of traffic, we can provide the solutions in various areas. Autonomous vehicles are coming up and providing the solutions. We are tracking various systems, right? Road tracking systems, and we can track our children also, various intelligent, so that when you are going for tuition or college or school, monitoring is possible, right? Also, AR VR is, yesterday, Madam Mua Madam, the convener of this workshop, was talking about augmented reality, virtual reality. So, using this virtual reality, we can teach our students, right? Now, the teaching is a very important profession. Most of you who are joined here, they are teachers, right? Now, teaching becomes almost, boarding online, right? Now, how to make this teaching and learning process interactive? And this is only possible by using this augmented reality based system or virtual reality, right? So whatever the models you are in your mind, you can show it through your mobile devices, and actually it is happening, right? And many schools level, they are during this pandemic, they are showing this kind of virtual reality systems and augmented reality systems to their students, right? So what is that? Example is that, say, volcano. If I say volcano, then something is happening around the hill, and some red color fumes are coming, and black long, say, 1,000-meter this fumes are coming up. If you say like this, no one will be interested, right? Isn't it? So we have to provide intelligence even in teaching learning system. So this is only possible to do this augmented reality, virtual reality, right? And somehow, even if the teaching is possible, normal teaching, how the say teaching like music class? Can anyone say how this music class are happening using this this augmented reality? Say music class, say guitar class. Madam, Shukurna madam.
No idea, sir, actually.
Okay. See, one of my research group, they are working on music. I like music, right? So I think everyone like music. So we have planned, actually, we developed certain models on student attention level and monitoring, especially in age intelligence. Even our exam system, if you know that Macaud exam system, we are doing invigilation using this. If you are, you're changing your eyes, your attention level can be also monitored. Even whether you are doing any cheating, that can be also monitored, right? So lots of AI is coming for exam monitoring, and we are doing it very successfully in our campus. Those who are interested, they're welcome. You can come to our AI. We are working on this model and how to take the attention of the student. In online teaching class, you know that what happens, many of the participants make the video on and they go somewhere. They can go for baths and they can go for lunch sometimes, right? Because the video is off. So it is very hard to get the attention level, right? So that can be also monitored using this proper audiovisual systems, right? So these things are actually happening around the world, especially during the last 1 year. And I am talking about music teaching. There is something is called haptic computing. You know, madam, haptic computing, haptic. Haptic means your guitar or sitar. I have one guitar in my house. Your music guru sitting in the other side of the internet, just like the Google Meet or Zoom Meet. If your devices are connected, he can play it in a haptic mode, and accordingly you will get that sound. So haptic is one of the important technology. Haptic computing. Haptic means you are moving your hand and you're as if you're playing with someone. Have you seen the movie of that Shah Rukh Khan movie that I forgot the game? What is it? Ravan, right? Anyone has seen that movie? Ravan, madam? Shupurna, madam?
No, sir, no.
Okay. Yes, you know that if you see that movie again, anyone, that it is shown in that movie that someone is wearing some gloves and things, and you're playing with your partner, and say you are boxing, and its boxing will affect to your other partner also. So this is the augmented reality system, especially for video games, right? So you can fight each other, and you can feel the punch also, right? So this is the haptic computing. Even believe it or not, IEEE transaction, they have opened a technology called haptic computing. Okay, haptic computing is also very much important that you understand you can also not listen the music, you can feel the music. Okay, very interesting. You can feel the music. How we can feel the music? You have to wear some gloves, and you know that sometimes when you are listening the music, what you do? We are purchasing some this kind of wires, right? This is the jack, and we are listening the music. Agree? But in haptic computing, maybe you have to wear some jacket, or you can wear some goggles, glass kind of thing. And when the music will come, your body will jump. Means your vibration, you can feel the vibration. Based on the type of music, you can not only listen to the music, you can feel the music also. And accordingly, you can react also. You know, it is also used for training purpose, training the students, right? So haptic computing, one of my student, rather one of my friend, he's from London School of Music. Okay? We are working on a project called Internet of Music. Okay, if anyone is interested, they can go through my research paper. The paper title is Internet of Music Things. What is that? Using that Internet of Music, you can collaborate. Say I am playing guitar, someone is playing sitar, and say from London, someone is in Greece, someone is in Barcelona, someone is in Australia. We can collaborate and we can combine, we can aggregate our data, and accordingly we can play very interesting. We can make a consortium of data, and we can perform this kind of operations, right? And we can perform various kinds of activities, especially for music-based learning. And by this process, and the students, the learners, they can also learn actually what is happening around the world. Okay, only 2 research papers are there. One from my group, another one from India, another one is from Luca, which is from London School of Music. Okay, so we are working on this music computation. Okay, and where multiplayers can play. I just took the concept from multi video games, and also we have combined with haptic computing. Haptic computing also means here it's a guitar, we can sense, and the guitar can store your data. You know, say I am Devashish. I have own style of playing my guitar or my sitar. So that playing style can be stored, right? Even you can think that Kishore Kumar is not with us, but Kishore Kumar voice, if you can learn the system of Kishore Kumar, and if I am singing, I can mimic, Kishore Kumar songs can be also mimicked. So there are the various techniques are coming up, especially in haptic computing, which provides the intelligence using this augmented and virtual reality. Okay, so this is a very interesting for school level teaching, for music level teaching, and this becomes very, very popular. Okay, so education learning system, there is some Elsevier journal of education, where you can see these things are also possible, right? Okay, is it clear or not clear? Any question?
Yes, sir, I think.
So that means you cannot only listen, you have to feel it, right? Feeling is important. You can feel the vibration. So generally, if you go to 7D studio, right? 7D studio, 70 means 7 dimension. You see your chair is also vibrating, right? I think I've gone through various this kind of 7D. I think in Calcutta also various studios, 3D, 4D, 5D. You can wear some glass, you can see some punching is coming on if you can feel the education, then the education becomes interesting, especially for students, right? So you have to feel the education. So augmented reality is coming in a big fashion, especially for this kind of learning systems. In India, Byju's, I'm not giving advertisement, many companies like Byju's and many other companies are coming up with this kind of virtual reality. It will be coming soon to your doorstep. They're working on these models, right? And if you go to other countries, they've already implemented, especially for the school students. Okay. 3 years before, I have given a lecture in AICTE how to implement this augmented reality for normal classroom. There is no pandemic. But that time we have discussed that how to give this online class teaching more interactive. Actually, that was for MOOCs and other applications. So it is very interesting that this technology should come up, right? Then, we should enjoy, not only should learn, we should enjoy the subject. We should enjoy what is actually happening around us. Then only, that is a beauty or that is a success of our whole process, right? Next in age is something is called safety. Safety as a service. Safety is very important. When you are talking about safety as a service or safety point of view, safety is a very important aspect. So one of the companies in Salt Lake, in Calcutta, is a very popular company. Tinku Acharya, he has developed this company called Videotronics. If you go to the website of Videotronics, so they have developed various applications, right? And they are all age intelligent applications. They are all age intelligent applications. Intelligence at the age, right? What is that? I think those who drive nowadays, we are getting lots of traffic fine, right? 100 rupees fine or 500 rupees fine. But sometimes we deny, oh, I was not driving that time. Nowadays, using these video cameras, say in bypass areas or any place of Calcutta or maybe in India, this company has deployed even not in the streets, even in the airports also. Videotronics, right? There are many other companies also there. So they will send the video within a second. Whenever you crossed some signal, you have violated the laws. Then only you will get a message from the company or the traffic police that you have violated the norms. And within a fraction of a second, you will get a message on your WhatsApp or on your message or mobile phone message or your email ID that this person, this car with the picture with the timestamp of the camera, he has crossed the road. So this is the intelligence is coming to the system, right? So age intelligence, camera-based age intelligence, making the city much more smarter, and that was also very much important for road safety, right? Safety of the roads can be also taken care of. Okay. I think everyone has gone to the airport, right? Airport, there is an announcement. If you see something which is unidentified, if you see any bag, kindly inform us. I think it was an announcement every, I think 4 or 5 years before, isn't it? In the airport, many part of India or many part of the world, this kind of announcements were there earlier, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Now, madam, have you heard this message earlier in the airport that if you see, or many other places, that if you see something unidentified, please inform to the desk. Okay. So have you seen it, right? This message?
Yes.
I think most of us has experienced this kind of message, right? Earlier. Now this message has stopped nowadays. Why, you know? Say if Shukarna madam is in Domdom airport or in any airport, if he heard something, if you observed something, then what will happen? You know, if you identify and you tell the desk, okay, there is some bag, please take care of it, isn't it? Then
Yes.
what will happen, you know, madam? What will happen, you know? What is the consequence? I'm telling a funny, interesting but funny story, which is very real life story. Yeah. What will happen to you after that?
So immediately they will take the action.
Yeah, immediately they take action on the bag, also on you also. That is a big problem. Agree or disagree? Because you have identified the bag,
Yes.
you also one of the suspect. Okay.
Yes.
That is a problem, that many people identify the bag, but they do not speak because, you know, they do not want to go for any unwanted trouble, right? They do not want to get into the trouble, right? Rather, I must say, you know, they do not want to invite the trouble. Agree, madam? Agree?
Obviously, sir.
Now, that was the problem. See, it's a very simple philosophy, but Tinku Acharya he has a lot of patent on it in this camera, this safety camera, right? What this group has done, and some of my students are also working there, and this company is just beside to your campus in Sector 5 of Salt Lake. And very interestingly, what they have done, there are a lot of camera in the airport, right? So this camera will see some bag is there which is untouched by anyone for a long period, say 1 hour time. Generally, people do not stay more than 1 to 2 hours in the airport. If someone is not touching it, the camera will identify and inform to the police automatically. Say this is the location of the airport and this is the bag, this is the color of the bag, and not only he will identify the bag, he will identify the person also by the multi-camera, right? And not only he will identify the person, he will identify the person who is, what is the name of the person. Using the image processing, they will go to the Aadhaar number of the person. Using the Aadhaar card or any kind of identification card, the camera will identify this is the person who keep the car, this bag, and this bag is lying for more than 2 hours. And all the informations will go to the security guard, and security guard will check, the airport authority will check, okay, that person who is keeping this bag and identified for more than 2 hours, and say Mr. X with his Aadhaar number is Y and his mobile number is Z, the person will be called by the security person. Fine, if he picks the call, fine. Otherwise, you know, they will go to the system and area and they will identify the bag and they will take care of it, right? So they will also check the person with the criminal records, whether the person is criminal, any records are there, right? So, yes. Anyone is asking questions? So, you know that this is the intelligence we are providing to the camera. So, the camera has the age intelligence. Camera can decide, and with the local intelligence, they can also identify the victim, or they can take care of the airport or any important area. So, this is the very, very interesting area of research, and video based intelligence is one of the very key areas of research nowadays, right? Yes, someone is identified with the mask. Yes, you are 100% correct, and that is the reason using this mask and taking care of this mask. Yes, very difficult to take care of this this situation. Yes, you are right. So we need more intelligence. Okay. So we can go back or rather backtrack that mask. Using the mask, you know, we have our face is closed, but eye is not closed. So if you can scan the retina, see, we are wearing the mask on the face only, not in the eye. If you're putting the mask in the eye, it's difficult. So retina scanning is also one of the very interesting area. Yes, that can be done. yeah, a lot of challenges are there, but that can be done also, right? So is it clear? So various intelligence we are actually having in these cars and vehicles, and they're all local intelligence, right? Using TensorFlow Lite. TensorFlow Lite is one of the very popular TensorFlow technique. Those who know into this machine learning, they can use this TensorFlow Lite, which is used for this purpose, right? Yeah. Any question after this? Madam, is it clear?
Yes, sir. And no more question in the chat box.
Yeah.
If anyone has any question, please unmute and ask.
Yeah. See, another very interesting case study I can tell you.
Sir, one question is in the chat box. If someone wear face shield, is it possible?
Difficult, no doubt, difficult. So new area, so we have to do the retina scanning because eye is always open. If you close the eye, no one can even walk. Even some questions are there. Criminals wear the sunglass, right? So there are many issues are there. Many research challenges are there. Yes, I agree with you. Right. So we have to talk about, we are talking about ecosystems of distributed, right? Distributed. So we have to combine marine system, right? Underwater and above water. So yesterday your director is talking about, Satyajit Chakraborty is talking about the the UAVs or the system or the intelligence on the air. Also there is some intelligence underwater where we are connecting the fishes, right? Earlier I remember that fishermen go to the fishing rods, they wait for hours and they wait for the fishes. The boats, fishing boats, waits for the fishes for several days to catch the fishes, right? Nowadays using this UAV and underwater vehicles, also this, we can connect to the swarm of fishes, and by this way we can have this equal distributed intelligence so that fishing also becomes very easy nowadays, right? And that is coming through the edge intelligent fishing systems. Also, this underwater vehicles also coming for the underwater mining applications, right? ISN Dhanbad also, School of Mines, they are all working in these various interesting areas. So actually using this edge, we are connecting things, software, people, data. So everything we are connecting, and we are doing disaster information. We are talking about customer training, traffic density, cyber crime, crowd statistics, right? Crowd movement analytics, various analytics we can do. So I'm not going into detail. So everything is possible in the real-time fashion, very fast and real-time fashion. We are observing it, and we can also do this operation in a smart analytics on smart city in a vertical as well as in horizontal domain. Vertical and horizontal. So we can see the clouds and intelligence also. We are cloud is in the middle of intelligence. So IoT or this internet is in the bottom, right? So that is the reason from this circle, as we can see, this edge is at the boundary. So this time edge intelligence is coming into the picture, right? So already I mentioned this IoT device to edge to edge servers, that is fog, then the cloud. But our aim is to provide the edge intelligence to perform 80% of the operations in the edge computing level, edge level, to provide the proper intelligence at the edge devices. Now the question is whether are we ready? Are the devices are ready? See, we are talking about intelligent refrigerator. How it is possible? Intelligent microwave oven, intelligent washing machine. So some of the devices are coming up. Some of the companies, right? They develop various intelligent cloud systems or intelligent edge systems, which provides the network or the device much more faster operation. So these are the some of the Sun company, Mini ITX, and also NVIDIA. They have developed various devices for last 3-4 years, right, to make the intelligence everywhere. So not only your mobile phone, some of the refrigerators. So we have to make them. So they must be connected. They must be connected to IoT, and they must have the computing capabilities. Can you believe it? Your refrigerator is used for cooling purpose, keeping your products, fish, chicken, in a safe fashion. At the same time, that is doing computing for you. It is unbelievable, isn't it? But this kind of device makes this thing magic. So this is the thing that we can run these things anywhere, right? And that is the first starting point of intelligence around us, right? So some of the companies like within Huawei company, they have installed Polestar, which is making continuous pollution monitoring, right? Even if you go to IIT Delhi, I've seen there is a pollution monitoring system. Even if you go to some of the places of India, there is some edge intelligent device which is capturing the data of pollution. And those who are environmentalists, environmental research workers, this container can store the data. You know, this array of things. You know, in the GitHub, GitHub is one of the storage. So anyone is interested to see these devices, I took this picture from GitHub. This slide actually given by Professor Suman Dasda, Italy. So he asked me to see this site, array of things, github.io, where you will see thousands of edge devices. And their coding, programming is also given. Okay, those who want to do this coding, and most of the codings are given in Python coding, right? So Python is one of the very simple and popular language. So these edge devices can be programmed, can be developed, and can be used for software. So basically, it's a software-based system. Software means I am talking about three things, right? Latency. All the participants mentioned, right, in the previous session that we have to reduce the latency. Delay should be reduced. Competition should be fast, and localization means locally we can solve the problem, and local mobility we can control. We do not go to sky, we can control it locally, right? Everything can be locally managed. So how to become a first-class citizen for combining these features for edge intelligence? See, when you're talking about edge intelligence, these are the four important terms. Four important terms, right? What is that? Proximity. Proximity means how far or how close your device is. So IoT device wants the support from you. So who is the nearest device is ready to support? Okay. So I am asking the question to you that who is ready to support? If I ask the question, do you understand? Someone should volunteer. So if the device is around you, proximity is very important. There is a 100 device, but the question is whether that 100 device will help that IoT? No. Answer is no. Are you getting my point? This is very important point. Who want to collaborate? If I ask in this forum, I am writing a research paper. Who want to collaborate? Or I am performing these certain things. Who want to collaborate? So collaboration will come through this desiredness. Maybe some devices, mobile devices close to the IoT, but they are not interested to collaborate. Isn't it? Proximity and eagerness to collaborate in the purpose of collaborativeness. So these are the very interesting features. Any question up to this? This proximity is very important. Proximity, context, capability. If someone wants some service, say some IoT device wants some service from my mobile, but my mobile has 2 GB mobile phone. 2 GB RAM. but I can see there is some Gurpreet Singh. Gurpreet Singh mobile phone has 8 GB RAM. But if Gurpreet Singh allows this device to work, then obviously the service will be provided by Gurpreet Singh's mobile phone. Is it clear? Gurpreet Singh, is it clear? Can I talk to Gurpreet Singh?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
So is it clear that your device must be capable enough to handle the situation, right?
Yes, sir.
If someone wants a help, fine, you are ready to help, but your device is not ready to support because device does not have that capability, right? So these are the 4 important points: proximity, how far or how close, context, capability of the device. If all the 3 is okay, but your mobile phone battery is low, energy is not there, so your device cannot provide the support. So these are the 4 important parameters for edge intelligence, right? So this kind of intelligence should be there. So intelligence means what? These parameters, these are the 4 parameters will decide what they will decide, whether the edge can take the support from the nearby device, yes or no. So intelligent resource allocation is one of the very important problems. So if you assign a job to a wrong person, what will happen? Shukurna madam.
Yes, sir.
See, for example, today you are conducting the session. See, I am always talking to you and to the participants.
Yes.
But if some person, say some irresponsible person who just opened the session, has gone for lunch, or if I'm asking, he is not present. So then what will happen? My interaction will be stopped.
Yes.
So intelligent resource allocation is important. So your coordinator knows. That means your coordinator means your Moha madam has entrusted the job to Shukurna Mukherjee madam, right? To perform this job so that the successfully the sessions can be conducted. Agree or disagree?
Agree, sir.
So is it clear what I mean to say?
Yes, sir.
So my question is, if you want to provide, we have to provide the proper service to the proper person. So this is the intelligence, the decision making, the proximity. I'm repeating: proximity, context, capability, and the energy. Clear? So these 4 parameters will dictate where the resource will be allocated, right? So there are various factors are there, how we can rather decide. So basically, it is kind of scalable computing. So I'm just repeating this. Okay, come to this point. It's a very important area. So in our life, we need a balance. Agree? That balance is known as load balance. And that balance in chemistry, I'm just talking about one example of chemistry, osmosis. You heard about osmosis? Anyone know what is osmosis? What is osmosis? It's written clearly also here, right? Anyone can unmute yourself? What is osmosis? In a school level, right? 7, 8 level or 10 level, we have studied osmosis.
Sir, molecules flow from higher to lower concentration of solute.
Yes, yes.
It's
So
not solution, it should be solute.
Yes. So that means, there is a membrane. This is something that's called a semi-permeable membrane, right? We did this experiment in school level, right? Sugar water one side, water level other side, right? So sugar water can go to the water level like this, from high concentration to low concentration using this semi-permeable membrane. Agree? Now, in order to make the device intelligent, in order to make our system intelligent, you see this picture, second picture. This is cloud computing with higher concentration, earlier highly loaded. This is EC, edge computing, right? Now, see, I have mentioned thousands of cloud servers. Cloud servers are powerful, no doubt, but edges are millions. So if you distribute our jobs to billions of edge device, what will happen? The load of the cloud will become less. Agree? Do you agree with this, madam?
Yes, yes.
So, what is our aim? What is our target? Throughout this talk, I'm talking about edge computing, edge computing. We have to provide most of the services to the edge. Why? Reason is, you already told, latency, delay you have to reduce. And also we want real-time solution. Because IoT requires, Internet of Things requires, very faster operations. So we need this kind of faster operations in the EC cloud. EC cloud means edge cloud, right? So that is the system. We have to make some membrane. So if you, as a HOD or director, whatever, we have to assign the job to our faculty members. If you give too much job to a certain person, what will happen? The person will break down, right? So we have to distribute the job, and you have to do the job in a very fast fashion. So we have to select the efficient person, efficient edge devices, and we have to perform. So cloud centers are actually transferring the microservices to the available edge cloud as data centers, right? You can see this picture. There is a balancing system which is equal to the semi-permeable membrane. Basically, these are called broker, cloud broker. So based on the intelligence, the cloud will provide the service, and they will encourage the edge to compute the operations at the edge only. So this is the beauty of osmotic computing. Basically, in a single line, osmotic computing encourages the edge computing device to perform at the edge of the devices, right? Clear? So when you're talking about the edge computing or edge intelligence, something is called sensor. We call it sensor as a service. Obviously, when you're talking about IoT devices or sensors are the main part. Sensors are transducer, which converts a non-electrical signal like vibration that can be converted to electrical signal. Any kinds of signal to electrical signal. And that signal is coming to your mobile phone. And the mobile phone can give the command using this edge computing with various AI capabilities to perform certain operations, right? So there are the 3 steps to perform: sensing, edge computing, and providing the intelligent orchestration mechanism for the decentralized and distributed infrastructure. I've already mentioned in the previous lecture, that morning session, that intelligent orchestration, see, orchestra to orchestration means you have to distribute the mechanism in a decentralized and distributed fashion so that the load is less. At the same time, we can implement this intelligence in a very efficient fashion. So these are the very important 3 steps. Yes. So I'm skipping this. So these are the edge intelligent GPU. See, everyone know NVIDIA, and this is developed in 2018. See, these chips are now coming up with your laptops. These chips are coming up with your refrigerators, also called intelligent washing machines, right? NVIDIA is very popular for video games, right? Those who play video games, you know that NVIDIA, which is called gaming hardware is there. They use this edge intelligent devices, right? So within your laptop also this intelligence is there. NVIDIA is very popular, and they started 2018. So I'm skipping this, but there are some current research area. I've already mentioned some of them. One of the very popular is heterogeneity. Heterogeneity. You know what is heterogeneity? Anyone just speak? What is heterogeneity? Heterogeneity means, you know, that I use a Vodafone. Sorry, my phone is Lenovo. Okay. Someone is using say iPhone. Someone is using say Samsung mobile. So they're all heterogeneous in nature, right? Someone's phone is 4G capability. Someone's phone is 5G capability. So we need some software solutions. We call software-defined network, which can handle this heterogeneity, right? So software-defined network, privacy-preserving network, these are very interesting research areas, right? So there is an interesting term called device interoperability. Interoperability means the device can talk to two devices. Say one person can talk in Chinese, one person talk in English, Gujarati, Marathi, Bengali, multiple languages. So then we can solve the problem of heterogeneity. And this solution is known as interoperability. Interoperable manner, we can use these devices. So heterogeneity is one of the very, very important applications. Anyone has any question on this heterogeneity? It's a very, very interesting research areas. Very interesting research area. In India, we call it unity in diversity. We have various languages, various geographical areas, but still we are all united. And we are coming to this forum of Atal program, and we are participating. I'm enjoying the sessions. You know, we are all enjoying certain discussions, right, throughout this week. So this is the heterogeneity, and everyone is actually coming from various backgrounds. Machine learning is for everyone, from computer science, electronics, mechanical, civil. Machine learning is a bread and butter, okay, through which actually we are solving the problems of heterogeneity. Because our devices around us is heterogeneous, isn't it? Anyone? Nilanjana madam, is it clear? Heterogeneity?
Yes, sir, but I don't know the answer.
Yeah, the answer is, you know, do you agree with this problem of heterogeneity, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, sir.
See, if you have a device ABCD, 4 device ABCD, and A uses different protocol, B uses different protocol, C uses different protocol, D uses different protocol. Then what will happen? We need some solution,
Right.
which
to
is
take
yes,
them in a same platform. Yes. Sir.
yeah. So something called universal. Say, for example, I am giving the lecture in English only.
Yes, sir.
I think I can see many persons from the various parts of India has joined, and thanks to everyone. But if I am speaking any language in Bengali, then what will happen? Many people cannot understand. So
Right.
I am using a common language called English, right? So that everyone can understand. So heterogeneity can be solved by using two processes, two ways. One is common language, common protocol, like English. Also, if you are going to say China, some Chinese person is beside you, right? You have to take an interpreter, translator, right? Chinese to English, English to Hindi, again Hindi to English, English to Chinese, isn't it? Madam, is it clear? Nilanjana madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that means we are actually transforming one.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah. So by this process, we have heterogeneity. Someone's mobile is 2G, someone is 3G, someone is 4G, someone is 5G. So all Gs can be connected with some common protocols. That is called interoperability. And this interoperability is very common in the term of IoT, right? So this is a very, very interesting area of research. Okay. And a lot of people are working on it, interoperability, device interoperability, system interoperability, network interoperability. Okay. Because various networks, right? We are using various networks. Say I am calling from, say, Vodafone to Airtel, Airtel to Jio, right? When you are making a WhatsApp call, in a WhatsApp call, 4 members are talking, right? So 4 different networks are coming together to make a successful WhatsApp call, right? 4 or 5 person can talk to each other, right? So there we are talking about what is called the network interoperability. So various levels of interoperability is here to mitigate the problems of heterogeneity, right? So these are the various challenges. I'm not going to all the challenges. So various interesting challenges are there. I just like to mention 2 important points. Already I've mentioned that AI for Edge, which is a bottom-up approach. Edge is intelligent, and that is intelligently acting to the outer world. And someone is called AI on Edge, which is opposite, top-down approach. So just see AI for Edge, and this one is AI on Edge. So in one case, AI is operating from the device itself, and top down, another one is bottom up. By this way, AI on Edge is basically checking the data availability, model selection, and coordinating mechanism. So I'm not going in detail. It will take another 4 or 5 hours to understand this philosophy. But both are different, mind it. That means it is similar to AI for cloud or AI on cloud. So we are driving the edges by AI, and AI is driving your edge. Both are different, mind it. So it is inside out and outside in, So if you're interested, there is a paper, you can go through this in Edge Intelligent, confluence of edge computing and artificial intelligence. Confluence means mixing, right? This is called Edge Intelligence. This is a very, very, very popular paper published in 2 years before. AI for Edge and Edge for AI. So they are all operating together in a vice versa mode, right? So when you're talking about 5G network, already we have gone through various industry 4.0, 5.0. Now we are in 4.0. We are talking about CPS, cyber physical system. And industry 5.0 is coming for massive edge intelligence. I can give you one example that during this lockdown, we cannot go home, right? Go outside home. But if your spec has broken, my spec, spec. Many of us using the spec, right? So if my spec is broken, what will happen? Do I need to go outside? Because of lockdown is happening, so I cannot go outside, right? Now, what do? You can go to some companies. Some of the companies are providing online recording. They will check your camera, they will check your 3D modeling of your face, and they will capture your power also, right? And they will give you they will deliver the camera as this spec to your home by post. So you do not have to go to doctors. You do not have to go for your face adjustment. So some of the companies are doing it. You know the company? What is the company? Lenskart, yes, 100%. Lenskart is one of the company is providing customized solution. Is similar to Lenskart. This kind of intelligence is coming to you. You can feel, touch and feel, and you can get the product. which will be delivered at your doorstep. Yes, you are right. Lenskart is one of the biggest company, right? Who mentions it? Vigosh, yes. So Lenskart, yes, Lenskart is a company. This is called customized AI. Customized for you, right? Only for you, because your spec is your spec, right? See your spec, right? So it is, that is the beauty of AI. AI is providing one-to-one solution, and thus companies like Lenskart is coming in a big business. It's providing the solution, especially during this lockdown. I'm not going in detail, but there are various aspects of this AI, right? Now coming to this autonomous drone. We are talking since morning. We are talking about autonomous drone, autonomous AI, autonomous clouds. So last year we have published one paper called Edge Drone, right? Which provides, the title of the paper is QoS Aware, Quality of Service Aware, MQTT middleware. MQTT means Message Queuing Telemetry Transport Protocol for mobile edge computing for opportunistic Internet of Drones. Okay. So this is published in Computer Communication Journal. Anyone is interested, email me, or I can send the paper to the organizer. They can share it. And this paper shows that how we are connecting hundreds, thousands of drones. And moreover, when the drones are moving, they will not collide to each other. They will keep a safe distance. Yesterday, your director is talking about, Satyajit Chakraborty just rightly mentioned, autonomous drone is the future. He mentioned that autonomous drones are providing the solutions at your doorstep, right? Even the vaccine delivery. In the hill area, vaccine delivery at remote areas, especially remote medical centers, timely it can deliver, right? You can think of remote vaccination done by the robotics drones, right? No one will come to you. Drone will come, give you the vaccine with their syringe. It can. It is maybe you're laughing, but maybe it's possible. The drones can do anything. Drone robotics is a future, right? Drones are playing a major applications. They will take your Aadhaar number. Very simple. They will take your Aadhaar number. They will check whether you have taken first dose or second dose. Accordingly, they will come to you. They will give the vaccine at your doorstep. Just like some of the governments are providing solutions at the doorstep, ration at doorstep, vaccine at doorstep, medicine at doorstep, right? Madam, agree with me? Doorstep solutions. Suparna, madam?
Yes.
Duare vaccine. Is it possible? So these are the areas. You see, it's very interesting, but this is possible and this is happening. See, this is not the story. This is actually happening, and this is happening with the multiple drones. And these drones are self. What is called that? What you do is called self sanitization. Before the drone comes to you, they are doing self sanitization. Amazon, Flipkart, they are coming up with the solutions, right? Some of the countries they have started providing this medicine, that is medicine supply and this food supply. These things are happening around us, right? And if you see this paper, how these intelligent drones, we have used these deep learning models and intelligent models, which is providing the solutions to these drones, right? And this is the picture of, this is the intelligent edge drone. We have programmed the modules using the Raspberry Pi. And this is my picture 2 years before in somewhere in Calcutta. So also we have some paper on May 2021, means last month, we have published one paper in SIMPAD journal in Elsevier, where we have seen that we have developed some model, edge intelligent models with software defined smart Internet of Drone things. We have developed some software-defined network for underwater drones. The drones will go and providing this solution for mining industry. Okay, I talked about fishermen. Through this eye, fishermen can check where is the fish. They can catch the fish easily, and various parts of the world, this product is available. Even if you go, this is available in Amazon in 70,000 rupees, 73,000 rupees, something like that, approximately. And with this, you can go take your boat. You can go to any river or sea area. You can do the fishing, right? And this is the fishermen are using this edge intelligent drones, right? Also, this edge intelligent drones is used for mining applications for the safety of the customers, so for the mining people, right? So I'll share these two papers. Anyone's interested, they can go through it. These are the intelligent solutions, right? Also, we have worked on the 5G based grid applications. Sometimes due to this disaster, like cyclones, last month also we have seen cyclone, also last year Amphan, they are doing a lot of disaster. So UAVs are coming in the rescue operation, and some electricity things or whatever is destroyed. We have published one paper last year called Hybrid Grid Mobility for Intelligent Load Forecasting and this age-enabled Internet of Drone things. That means, very simple language, they will detect some area where there is no electricity. Just imagine a smart city. Due to some disaster, there is no electricity. Then these houses will be facing the problem. So this drone will provide the electricity, temporary solution to mitigate the disaster. And this is called edge grid power. And edge grid power is very popular nowadays, right? New area, but new research area, right? Also, I mentioned that federated learning, right? Edges are learning from the edge, and also they are talking to each other. If you see, these drones are going to each and every city. There is a localized learning, W1, W2, W3. These localized edges, localized vehicles, cars, whatever these drones are learning, they are going for federated learning. I've already mentioned in the morning class. So you understand the federated learning also coming into the picture of these drones, which will be used for disaster management or any kinds of electricity management or any kinds of pandemic management also, right? So someone has asked, Urpita Majumdar, yes, drones can connect to the photovoltaic or natural electricity zones, and they can transmit the signals, to the localized electricity centers. It's possible.
Power grid, they will.
Yes, localized power grid. It's called disaster power grid. Yes, possible.
Oh.
And especially, those who are from electrical engineering background, and there are lots of research, madam. Urpita Majumdar, madam.
Yes,
and
sir,
huge electricity. And another very interesting thing I am telling you, say our politicians, they go for election campaign to certain areas. In village area, there is no electricity. Then drones will go and they're providing electricity and good internet connections for say 6 hours, where 1,000 people or 1 lakh people will be there, right? 7 lakhs people will be there. They're providing this temporary high connectivities. Clear? In terms of electricity, in terms of internet connectivity, so temporarily we can enrich certain area for say 6 hours. This is all possible due to this federated learning, right? So see, the term is written, learning in the air. See, learning in the air. So air drones can communicate. So Internet of Drones, right? Learning in the air. Learning is happening in the air. So what is wireless learning? So this is the very interesting recent applications, 2021, last year, this year. these are the open areas, and we are working in details of this mode. Anyone is interested, they can work with us. And actually, we are programming these drones. And we are actually communicating these drones. See, drones are actually communicating to each other, and we are providing the solution. See, I'm not going in details, but yes, it's all possible to do these edge drones, right? And obviously, someone has asked today that this morning that I've just added this slide for you. One sir has asked, right, from UM, how to make the system secure. Yes, some quantum computers are coming up. See, 128-bit quantum computer is already with us, and quantum drones or quantum computing, which is quantum cloud or quantum machine learning. See, already books are published. Can you believe it? Already some of the books are published. So if you see, these are the very interesting research area why this quantum drones, quantum edge computing, and these things makes the system much more robust, and edge computing becomes much more powerful. So that means this edge computing is providing the solutions at the edges using the simple Python codes. Okay. Also, this edge is also helping in healthcare. So I'm skipping because we have no time. So last year, 2021, we have published one work in Elsevier JNCA. Edge computing is used for healthcare applications, okay, especially for patient application, especially for COVID patients. And this is a very much important need of this hour, right? We have to provide the oxygen, we have to provide the solutions, right? Emergency disaster management. So healthcare management is also performed in this way, right? So another area is not possible to cover today, but I just want to give you one line solution that we are all talking about internet, right? Since morning, last 3.5 hours, since 9:30, I was talking about internet. And my question to you all the parameters. Someone has asked that what parameter? Precision measured. Yeah. Precision of quantum computer is very high. Shumanta Chakraborty is very high because it is giving qubit. Qubit is very fast and providing high speed solutions, right? Now coming to the internet, I am asking all the participants. I'll just finish within 10 minutes. But before that, I am asking all the participants that are you getting good internet connectivity at your area? You just write yes or no. My second question is, are you getting consistent internet connectivity in your area? I can see various participants from various parts of India. So I'm also want to take this opinion poll from you. Is it always consistent? No, not always. Yes. Not very much. Yes. Any answer? Are you getting good signal? Consistent? Yes, sir. Good signal. Okay. Only one. Two. Abhishek Dash. Yes. Anyone? So, see, I can see that 50% said good signal and almost 50% said not so consistent. Even I face the problem. Even whenever it's rain, my signal is lost. Okay. We face this problem frequently, right? Wi-Fi is consistent, fine. Now, sometimes whenever we are using this internet connectivity, okay, if the internet data is gone, something is called dew computing. Dew computing provides a solution which shows that even if the data connection is gone, dew computing temporarily stores the data. Dew computing temporarily provides a solution in its cache data. That means it is just like a relay race. A is providing data to B, B is providing to C. If this data connection is lost, B will store the data and dew will be formed, right? Based on the dew capacity, the network speed will be storing, right? So this is the beauty of the drone. Sorry, Dew. And Dew computing is playing a major role, especially in the areas, especially in the village areas or rural areas where the internet connectivity is not stable. Dew is providing these solutions. That means, in a short, I'm not going in details of this Dew because it will take another 2-3 hours time. In a short, I just want to mention, if someone lost his internet connectivity for say 2-3 minutes, his cache memory of the device, cache memory is a temporary storage memory of your device, can provide you the solution, can hold the data temporarily in your device and provide the solution, right? Here. And that is the Dew. That is called Dew. Dew means in the cache, the data will be stored for temporary. When the internet connection is restored, then this B will release the data to C. Yeah, there is a time limit. No, time is based on the cache. If your cache memory is high, then it can hold it. If your cache memory is low, then what will happen? Then it can store for 30 seconds. But if your cache memory is say very high, it may store for 5 minutes also. Okay. So Dew computing is very interesting area. Those who are from listening to me, now we have a IEEE STC group. STC means Special Technical Committee. And if you see that this year I'm working as a chair, vice chair for this group from India. And those who are interested to contribute to this Dew group, everyone is welcome. You can mail me. I can add you to this Dew group. And what is our job? Our job is to develop the model. And this is officially IEEE group. IEEE makes the standard. IEEE makes the standard. So we are in the process of standardizing this Dew computing for what is called that? Unstable internet connectivity. Okay. So if anyone is interested in India to work in this domain, you're always welcome. So we are in the process of developing the standard, like IEEE. What everyone knows the standard, right? IEEE standard 802.11 and many other type standards are there, right? Agree or disagree? You heard about 802.11? Yes, yes. That means this is a standard. So we are planning with some standard. So that even if your signal is gone, that can store the data for temporary. Someone has asked, so with the Dew computing, yes, signal drop can be, yes. If your signal is dropped for 5 seconds or 10 seconds due to the fluctuation, due to the rain, I think I face the problem. Rain is the biggest challenge. If your rain is happening, very high speed rain, our wireless data is gone. So signal drop data can be managed. But if your drop is for temporary, then it can be managed. If the signal drop is for 1 hour, no, it is not possible because your cache cannot store that huge amount of data, right? So before I stop here, I just mentioned one important point. It's not here. Okay. 1 minute, just a minute. So another important thing I have not mentioned here, that's called AgriEdge. AgriEdge, one of my student is called, he's worked in this domain of AgriEdge, means agriculture also. You know, agriculture also we have used this this edge computing to provide the solution, because time is not there, so I'm not going in detail of that. But this agriculture is also supported by this dew computing, especially, you know, in the village area. Well, agriculture, I will share you this paper, full paper of AgriEdge, where, you know, this signal is dropped. If you go to the village area, AgriEdge also supports this internet connectivity. Okay, internet, you know, if in the village area, especially in the ground where the farmers are working, this internet connection gets disrupted. So AgriEdge is providing the solution to provide this uninterrupted internet connections, right? So what you can conclude here from this discussion today, that we badly need the solutions of intelligence to provide this solution for the edge computing, and AI for cloud or AI for edge is obvious to us, and AI for edge or edge on AI, both are very important, and we need to work together to make this ecosystem better and better, so that we can provide the solutions to the farmers, to the hospitals, to the customers, to provide these solutions in a very efficient fashion. Okay, so these are the challenges, and I've started my discussion that we have a center called Center of Mobile Cloud Computing, where we are actually combining this, you know, actually we are connecting this mobile phones, and we are combining this, you know, these apps. Actually, apps are dictating everything, and through this we are connecting to the clouds or edges, right? This book I have written in 2015, almost 6 years before. Now this year we are working on this book called, it will be published this month, called Mobile Edge Computing, where we have provided all these intelligent solutions, right? Those who are interested, I can give you the book, and it is available free of cost from Springer Link. It is published by Springer, where you can see all the solutions are provided, especially for edge intelligence systems. Okay, and another book is coming on Edge AI. So that is also talking about how to provide this intelligence, how to provide this federated learning and this intelligence to our cloud devices. With this, I just want to stop it here, madam. Thank you very much. Any question, I can take the questions. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir, for your very valuable words. So I'm asking, is there any question? If you have the question, participant, please unmute, or you can write in the chat box. Sir, I have a small question. Can we connect the nature-inspired computing? I just checked the slide. Actually, I just saw the book name. So how nature-inspired computing is related to edge computing? How these two are related?
Yes. Okay, I'm just telling you. 1 minute. See, madam, see, whatever the optimization we are talking about, right?
Yes.
Optimization, right?
Yes, sir.
So these optimizations are coming up from this nature, right?
Yes.
I can show you one interesting area. I'm giving the answer of your question, okay? With the slide. Just give me 2 minutes time.
During this time, if participants, you have the question, you please write in the chat box.
You know, 3 of my students are doing PhD or even completed their PhD on nature-inspired computing, and especially bio-inspired computing. Okay, and I'm just showing you one thing. And See, it is raining heavily and my signal is dropping like anything. So this problem we face a lot. See, if you see this, madam, can you see this book, right? This is the book on nature-inspired computing. I can share you this book if you want.
Okay.
And if you see, we have discussed about various optimization techniques, okay?
Yes.
Which techniques actually helping for, say, coverage optimization, say coverage, say energy optimization. Something is called green IoT. Green IoT means we have to provide the solutions with energy optimization. So these bio-inspired networks are playing a major role to provide this solution in a very efficient fashion. So I'm just going to one slide, 1 minute. Can you see this slide? Can everyone see this slide?
Yes.
This paper has written that reverse glowworm storm optimization for mobile wireless sensor network or other IoT, same. If you see the glowworm, in Bengali we call it Jonaki poka. Okay. And in my house, I see this this glowworm, and that encouraged me to work in this domain. Okay. And this glowworm has optimization, right? Generally, what happens? Glowworms gives the light to the surroundings, right? And based on the source of the light, glowworms make a cluster computing, right? Now, if you think the energy optimization, that means if there is any lower energy to higher energy, energy must be going in a reverse fashion. So if you just do the reverse mapping, that means glowworm will move in the different direction. So if you see this paper, I mean given in detail, say glowworm will move in opposite direction. Generally, worms move in same direction where there is light. Madam, is it clear? Worms move in that direction where there is light.
Yes.
I'm just repeating. Worms moves in that direction where there is light. But I have given reverse glowworm. Reverse means if the energy is high, all the sensor nodes or IoT nodes are moving to that direction, then what will happen? Energy will be concentrated. But we need the IoT device should be giving coverage to all the areas, right? In my area of interest. So I have proposed, and our paper is going for a very high citation for this. We have proposed reverse glowworm walk. That means opposite to the movement of the glowworm. So if you see the paper title, this is called reverse glowworm storm optimization for sensor network. And that can be applied to edge network. Even that can be applied to IoT network as well, right? One of my student, he has written on paper called glowworm optimization for IoT edge-based network, right? Mobile edge network. In Journal of Supercomputing. Okay. So this swarm network, we have published 3-4 papers on this. So this is all published paper. So we did the modeling. So I'm not going in detail, but the distribution of the area, see, initially distribution is like this. So after some iteration using this algorithm, we are coverage optimization. We are, see, no overlapping. So coverage will be minimized. Means no overlapping will be vanished. So by this way, we are having a distributed fashion map. Okay. So bio-inspired computing is playing a major role. So this thing we did in our MATLAB simulation. We have written the program of inverse glowworm swarm optimization, and we have mapped our data in this model. And this is the energy, and we have done energy calculation, and our model shows is energy efficient. So is it clear that
Yes.
we have observed the movement pattern of this glowworm, and there our network movement, our mobile edge node movement, because our nodes are mobile. Your drone is also mobile, right? And drone's movement is not random, mind it. Drone's movement must have some fashion. It is inspired by this glowworm and inspired by these algorithms. inspired by this inverse or reverse Bloom algorithm. So we are proposing, rather we have proposed this energy efficient methods, and our algorithm shows very high compression, that means very high energy efficient algorithms, right? So these are the various applications. So I'm not going in detail, but if you see our papers in physical communication also, we have published self-organized glow-worm optimization. Okay. So this year also, 2020, we also published fuzzy-based, movement score-based limited grid mobility for mobile wireless sensor network. Okay. So whatever I'm discussing, I can take at least 10 hours to discuss all these things. So I think participants will be bored. I think they are also hungry also, right? So, it is a totally world, it takes a lot of time to understand. But as you have asked a very important question, because of shortage of time, I have not shown it. Bio-inspired computing is playing a major role, especially the swarm optimization. Okay, especially the grid mobility. See, grid mobility, and this is applied to the same models. See, same models. We have also published paper this year also. This year in computer communication, dynamic fuzzy inference system based reverse glow-worm optimization for green mobile wireless sensor network. I'm repeating, dynamic fuzzy inference system based reverse glow-worm optimization for energy and coverage optimization. Energy and coverage optimization, mind it, for wireless sensor network or IoT, whatever. So your mobile wireless sensor network is nothing but your drones. Okay. So we modeled it using this fuzzy model, using this drone model. I'm not going in detail. I'll share my slides if you want.
Yes,
You
sir.
can
That
go
will
through
be
it.
good for us.
Yeah.
Share the slide.
So details discussion was there. So basically, madam, you have asked about the question how this bio-inspired network is actually helping.
Yes.
Answer is in this slide. Answer is in this slide. See, this is the answer of your question. Drone mobility optimization. What is the speed? What is the direction? What is the angle? What is the pattern? If your movement is random, they will collide, and drones will collide means your drone will be destroyed.
Yes.
So this drone's movement is basically governed by the mechanism like bio-inspired mechanism, right? Also geospatial conditions. These are the various questions, right? And this is just starting. We can do a huge amount of work. Those who are interested, we can work together, because this is the huge area to work, open area. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Yes.
I need to check the chat box. Yes, in chat box, I think Kaushik Dev asking one question. As we know, processing power is a big challenge in edge and view computing. What kind of optimization technique we can use for neural network or deep learning?
See, one thing I must mention that we use something called lightweight machine learning. That is a solution. Okay. Lightweight solution means, what do you mean by lightweight solution? Means see, in case of federated learning also, what you have seen in case
Hello, sir. Sir, can you? We can't hear you. I think there is some network issue from speaker side, so you should wait.
All participants are requested to please bear with us. The speaker is having a little bit of a network problem, facing a little bit of a network problem on his end.
per day ಒಂದೇ ಕೊಡತಾನೆ.
Yeah, Sir is back.
So you can unmute yourself now.
Hello,
Yes.
can you hear
Yeah,
me?
sir. Yeah, sir, we can hear you.
Hello,
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, yes, yes. Some network issue was there.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there was a question, actually you are discussing the answer. One question was asked. Should I repeat the question again?
Yes, madam. Yes.
As we know, processing power is a big challenge in age and due computing. What kind of optimization technique we can use for neural network or deep learning?
See, already I have mentioned one of the example of inspired things, and we can combine these things, and you know that federated learning is coming up with various lightweight solutions. So please go through this deep learning, deep learning based federated learning system, and that is providing a very interesting solution. Yes.
Okay, any more question from the participant side?
Someone has asked about agriculture. I have seen it earlier. I'm just giving you one few seconds few minutes time.
Yes, sir, sure.
So I think someone has asked the question in agriculture areas, especially in village area. If you go to the village area, signal is a big problem, right? And agriculture is another area where people are working. So we have worked one area called agri-age, agriculture and the edge computing, right? So we have published this year with Akashjit Bhattacharya. He is also in IIT Kharagpur. So we have provide intelligent edge solution for 5G narrowband Internet of Things for agriculture 4.0. Okay. So with this, actually, what he did, we are providing this solution, narrowband IoT, and especially nowadays in the lockdown, everyone is doing gardening at the rooftop, right? So we have developed certain modules, edge intelligent modules, and we are providing the solutions to the for the farmers also, right? So this is one of the module we have developed, right? We have published this paper also in IEEE magazine, Consumer Electronics magazine. You know, consumer electronics is one of the very, very popular, important thing. And Honorary Beach is also there who worked with me to develop these solutions for for this agriculture. I'm just showing you his work. So I'm not going in detail of this. Also, we have worked in the Apple-based how to when to pick up the apples. We are providing this recommendation system using machine learning. So in a cloud-based network. So I'm skipping this. See, we also work for rural area. How to provide? We are providing long distance Wi-Fi in the rural areas, and we are connecting the devices in intelligent fashion, and we are providing the solutions using this AgriMode devices. And this AgriMode, see, I have talked about the cache memory. This AgriMode has lots of cache in the devices. So we are providing extra RAMs, and we are, this is in hill areas, Northeast Hill University. We are providing a long distance Wi-Fi link, and we are helping the farmers to provide the solutions, right? And this work is published in the big journal, IEEE IoT journal, okay, almost 10 infected journal. And we are also working with the farmers where the internet connectivity is less. Someone has asked the internet connectivity less, then these are the solutions. So we also developed a model called FarmFox, a quad sensor based model. So I can provide you this paper also, that we have developed a chip. We have developed the breadboard with due computing facilities with intelligence, machine intelligence on it. And this is the thing actually in our practical scenario. And we have also various sensors. And what is the important thing, this is a quad sensor. Quad sensor means 4 sensors in a single board. And this board is totally designed by our lab, in our lab. Okay. Madam, is it clear? It means, that we have multiple sensors are working together. But if you have multiple sensors in a single board, then processing power will be very high and very fast. We are talking about edge computing, which is very fast operation. So edge computing based, this kind of devices are playing major role, right? Even for ISRO, that in our home, we are providing the solutions called aeroponics or hydroponics. In your buildings also, you can provide these solutions, right? It is called soilless technology. We can provide the solutions in edge devices. See, using your mobile phone, you can control the water flow, how much water is required. See, there is no soil, only water, and you can grow this kind of vegetables in your home using these edge devices. I'm not going in detail because you have no time, but this aeroponics is one of the very popular solution, and this is only possible due to this edge intelligence. See, when the mist will come, when there is requirement of water, these nozzles will provide the sprinkle of water, water sprinkle. And there is a sensor using your mobile phone, you can sprinkle the water based on the requirement. Okay. So we developed this model, and you can see these are grown in the aeroponic system. See, these are practical applications. During this pandemic, you can grow this kind of vegetables in your home and without any soil. See, and these are our graphs. I'm not going in details. So these are the IoT solutions. How the clients within your house using your IoT gateway, we can grow this aeroponics system, right? So in your home, kitchen, garden. So these are the applications, totally AI based, machine learning based. So we also worked on disease, edge based disease. I'm not going in detail, but we also published in this journal, multimedia tools and application, how this disease will be detected. Using your mobile phone itself, you can take the image and you can say what is the disease, and automatically the spraying system can be developed. Okay. This month, 1st June, we have published this paper that this is a magazine actually, book chapter, where we have shown that intelligent narrowband IoT. Narrowband IoT is very popular for ISRO also launched their satellite this year. This year means 2020, last year actually. 2020, narrowband satellite to provide the farmers facility. Someone has asked the question that how the farmers will be getting the help. This narrowband IoT is helping to the farmers and to provide these edge computing capabilities. So this is the satellite based ISRO satellite. Those who are interested, they can go through this chapter. see, ISRO is providing this solution and providing this solution for the farmers, even for disaster management, for forest fire management. So I'm not going in detail. So these are the areas where you can work. Okay. So yes. Yes, madam. Any other question?
I think, sir, no question in the chat box yet. So anyone wants to ask any question, then please unmute and ask.
Yeah. See, I've just tried to give him the basic, if I just summarize, I've just tried to give that idea that what is edge computing, how this edge computing works, and why the intelligence is required, whether it is healthcare, whether it is drone, whether it is agriculture, whether it is any other applications, right? So also when there is no internet connectivity, how to use this dew computing. So this is the takeaway. So machine learning, also I have discussed about federated learning, deep learning technologies, yes. So if we can combine, then only we can make a sustainable network fashion, right? Sustainable network. Yeah, anyone asking any question, you can, another 2-3 minutes are there, so you can ask.
Yeah. If anyone has any question, please write in the chat box or you unmute and ask.
So I think throughout the day, we have a lot of discussion.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a very interactive session. Thank you, sir, again for your talk on intelligent mobile edge computing. And we got the clear picture about edge intelligence, federated computing learning. And we also got the concept of heterogeneity, which was very clear to us. And the concept of learning in the ear. That is federated computing as well as drone. If we combine these two, we can get the concept. And moreover, sir, you also mentioned very clearly the concept of dew computing. So is there any question, any more question? So thank you, sir, again.
I have also discussed about your question, your answer, right?
Yes.
Nature inspired.
Nature inspired computing.
You know, actually what happens when you are talking about optimization,
yes,
we are getting all the solutions from nature. So for my case, I've taken the solution from GSO, Global Software Optimization. So anyone can work in other domain also. Yes, always welcome. Yeah.
Yes, actually Nilanjana Dattara ma'am is written something in the chat box.
Yeah. Thank you, Nilanjana.
Thank you, sir. Tufan, are you there? Tufan,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm sharing.
Yes. Sir, this is from our side a small token of appreciation for taking this session. We enjoyed a lot, sir. From your whatever you have discussed, we enjoyed a lot. Thank you, sir. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you for bearing me, because I was talking for more than almost since 9:30, almost is 2. Thank you for bearing me for 4.5 hours.
Sir, we enjoyed a lot.
Yes, sir. We've really enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Niranjan madam. Thank you, Tufan madam. And thanks to all the participants. I think more than 100 participants, 130, 135 participants I've seen. So it's all over part of India. So thank you, everyone. Those who are listening to me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to the participants. I think you have observed already one message we posted in the WhatsApp group as well as in the chat box also. So you will get the attendance as well as the feedback link at 4:15 sharp in the chat box. And we will be back for our next session by at 2:45. Okay, the next session will be taken by Dr. Chandan Chakraborty. We will hear from his. Okay.
The link will stay active for now. So
Okay.
if you want, you can stay in the session, or you may leave and join back later.
Yeah, please join by 2:45.